What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. British boxing star Amir Khan went absolutely ballistic on his verified Twitter account, and we're going to start this from the top. I'll give you guys my thoughts mixed in with the commentary and the tweets sent out by Amir King Khan this morning. So we'll run it back, and I mean, there's a lot of them, so it's the best I could show you better than I could tell you. So it's bad. You know you're about to air somebody out when you send a tweet like, "We'll be letting the truth out later today. Stay tuned." Like, he had to gear people up. He had to get people ready. He also said Los Angeles tomorrow. Been a long time. Meaning he's going to be at the Garcia Guerrero fight, which takes place on Fox at the Staples Center PBC. Now, let's read the first tweet from Amir Khan. Manny and Middleman. My team met Bob Arum in London, also spoke to Michael Kantz. We agreed all terms, and they said Manny will decide to fight either me or Crawford. The fight with me could have been in the UAE or Vegas. We were waiting to see who he picks, and he decided fight Bradley again, and he makes this sarcastic emoji face. Don't blame me or my team, as there was no middleman. For whatever reason, they never wanted to fight me. Freddie said HBO didn't want the fight. Now Manny's saying middlemen prevented the fight. Crying emoji face. Make your mind up, guys. Full statement to follow. So before I get into the Kell Brook situation, because there will be some Kell Brook tweets also, I would say this is 1 point for Amir Khan as far as that argument is concerned, because I would have to side with him on that. It seems like with Pacquiao, top ranker Pacquiao, oftentimes there's multiple different stories. Like, there's interviews. I seen on, I think Dante's Boxing Nation and some other people had the interview. Freddie Roach says that Pacquiao lost to Mayweather, and then Pacquiao saying, I beat Mayweather. And then I've seen articles where Bob Arum saying that Manny picked Bradley 3, and then I've seen other interviews where Pacquiao saying he didn't pick Bradley for the third time. His team did. So I'd have to give it to Khan, because from his argument and what he said, it makes perfect sense. And we do know the reports. We were following. I was covering this, and we knew they were meeting up with him, and they were possibly trying to put something together and make a fight. And all of a sudden, it didn't happen. And then you choose the recycled opponent that you've already fought. And a lot of people think you beat 2 other times in Timothy Bradley. Bradley's a hell of a fighter. He's a good fighter, but I think the fans would have preferred, especially if this is truly Pacquiao's last fight, a fresher face. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how the cookie crumbles. That's how I see it. So I'd have to side with Amir Khan. I heard articles, and like he's saying, Freddie Roach or whoever was saying HBO didn't want the fight. Now it's because the middlemen prevented the fight. So like Khan says, make up your mind. Like, which one is it? What are you going with? What is your scapegoat? Middlemen prevented the fight. To me, the whole middleman sounded crazy. I mean, Amir Khan, he's been a professional fighter for so long, and making a fight with no one else seems to be a problem. Chris Algieri, Collazo, Maidana, nobody else, it seems to be a problem. He's fought people with UK promoters like McCloskey, but all of a sudden he can't fight Manny, and it's because of middlemen just intervened and got in the way. Like, most things, if 2 people really truly want the fight, usually differences and the negotiations, it's not always going to be what you want the very first time. You know what I'm saying? If they agreed on a 60-40 split, or that's what Manny offered, and Khan didn't like that, then you go back to the drawing board and see if you guys can meet in the middle. You know what I'm saying? That's what negotiations are. So I'd have to side with Khan with that. Let's move on. Amir Khan says, and now to Kell Brook. Eddie Hearn is cool. I had a good chat with him at the Smith fight in Liverpool, and negotiations started before Christmas. I want it. Eddie wants it. Sky wants it. All the fans want it. But then Kell decides to fight Kevin Bezier, who lost to Jojo Dan twice. And he makes this scared emoji face. Never known of a world champion to have 3 bum defenses back-to-back. Make that 4 if you include Diego Chavez. At least fight someone in top 10. Mandatories can step aside. Happens all the time. I was mandatory to Floyd for 2 years with the WBC. We could have fought in April, May, or first week of June before Ramadan. I've got a potential fight with Garcia if he wins tomorrow for the WBC. I've been WBC number 1 for 2 years. It's about time I got my opportunity to avenge that loss. Brook fight could still happen this year, but Brook wants a 50-50 split with me. Wake up, son, and smell the coffee. Be realistic and make it happen. Even Eddie told you you're not worth that. Then he goes on to say, fact is, they're fooling the fans, fighting all these bums on the back of my name to hype his fights and profile, saying I'm running scared, etc. Brook Alexander called off 3 times. He turned down Bradley. Rio's fight didn't happen. Puzzled emoji face. And he retired poor Marquez by mentioning his name too much. Seriously, guys, imagine if I fought JoJo Gallagher. He's talking about JoJo Dan. Gavin, Frankie Gavin, and Kevin Bezier. I'd rather retire. I want the big fights and will continue to do so. Got let down by Floyd 3 times, then Pacquiao. But plenty big fights out there, including Brooke Garcia and some other huge fights. And he winks at the camera. So, I must say this. Amir Khan, well played. Everything he said, you have to give him credit for in terms of if you get your fact checkers, this is all accurate information. Like, as far as like the stuff Brook versus Alexander was called off 3 times. 2 times was because of Kell Brook, and 1 time Devin Alexander got injured. And then after the last Kell Brook pullout, it was never rescheduled. So that's accurate. Him fighting Rios. We all know Rios said he wanted to fight, and they were trying to make a deal, and they were trying to change Rios' gloves. And for whatever reason, the Rios fight fell apart as well. Same thing with the Diego Chavez fight. I was looking, you know what? I'm just going to say it like this. I was going to make a separate video, but Khan did it for me. I don't have to make a separate video. But Kell Brook, I like Kell Brook a lot. And I've told people that. You can go look at my old videos or whatever. I like Kell Brook. I like him. I think he has potential to be maybe even the top dog since Floyd and Pacquiao retired. Maybe the top dog at welterweight. But just like I say with Golovkin or anybody else, the proof is in the pudding. You have to put it. You have to put it into perspective for the fans. We're not going to just anoint you the king of the welterweight division if you don't earn your stripes. And it's just as simple as that. So as much skill as I see with Kell Brook, there's also a hint of worry because mysteriously his fights keep like regressing. Sean Porter, you came across the pond. You did the damn thing. Sean Porter he had momentum. He had beat Malignaggi. He had beat Devin Alexander. He was a champion, and he was rugged, rough, in shape. He was coming to bring it. He was coming to fight. You controlled it with the jab. You clinched when you needed to, and you stopped the roughhouse tactics and neutralized it. You had a cut. I gave him a lot of credit for that. And I actually picked, if you go to my channel, I picked Kell Brook to beat Sean Porter. A lot of people said I was dumb, like, oh, Kell Brook's a bum, blah, blah, blah. So I vouched for him in that fight. But ever since the Sean Porter fight, in my opinion, he has regressed. He got stabbed in the leg. See, I'm realistic. He got stabbed in the leg, and then he fought JoJo Dan, his mandatory. So I said, okay, he's coming off a gruesome injury. They said he may not even walk before, you know what I'm saying, because of the injury, or he may not fight or whatever the situation. Plus, it was satisfying a mandatory. So I said, hey, Kell Brook, JoJo Dan, I don't really care about the fight, don't want to see it, but he needs to get himself back into the rhythm, back into the swing of things, coming off of a stabbing injury. Make sure that leg is up to par, basically. And it was satisfying a mandatory, even though he didn't have to fight his mandatory right then and there. So I said, okay, cool. But then after he fought Frankie Gavin, and it's just like, come on, man. Like, Frankie Gavin. And then the Rios fight fell apart, like Khan is saying. Then he was supposed to fight Diego Chavez, and then that fell apart. He got injured again. Like, how many injuries? You're like turning into like the Derrick Rose of boxing. You know what I'm saying? You keep getting injured. And I'm not trying to clown. I'm just being like full-fledged 100 with you guys. He's getting injured a lot. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe you should chill out and camp and like slow it down a pace or something if you just keep getting injured. And then the Diego Chavez fight, that's the other thing. Now, so much time has elapsed with the injuries and stuff like that. And now the Diego Chavez fight is out the window because he has to fight his other mandatory. So it sounds like you could time that if you wanted to. If you just got cold feet or whatever and didn't want to fight Diego Chavez, like a rough, rugged style or whatever, you could time that. So it seems too coincidental that it's always something with his fights, like, you know what I'm saying, where he's pulling out. And again, I like Kell Brook. You can vouch for that. And some people even called me an Amir Khan hater in the past. So I'm just calling it like I see, like I always do. So Khan has a lot of solid points, and I do want to see Khan versus Brook, and I do want to see it now, you know what I mean, before either fighter loses. Khan hasn't lost since Garcia, and Kell Brook has never lost as a professional. So realistically speaking, I think that's great for the summer. But Khan does have a solid point. He's looking for big fights. He wants to avenge the Garcia loss. He was definitely doing good in the first 2 rounds before Garcia got his timing. And you can argue, and this is, I'm just saying the business side of boxing. You could argue Danny Garcia has, since the Khan victory, basically since the Khan victory and like Matisse victories, he's had some dry spells where he's looked, you know what I'm saying? He didn't look good versus Herrera, and I thought Herrera beat him. He beat Rod Salka, which he's not going to get that much credit because he pulled a guy up in weight, no power, and that was a mismatch. We all know that. Then he struggled with Peterson. Some people think Peterson won. Some people think he lost, but either way, he didn't look good in that fight. Then he fought Paulie Malignaggi. He was coming off of a Sean Porter knockout loss and inactive for about a year plus since the KO loss to Sean Porter. Beat Paulie Malignaggi. Now you're fighting Robert Guerrero, who got dropped by Aaron Martinez. Now, I do think the Guerrero-Garcia fight is a good fight stylistically, but Robert Guerrero is coming off of 2 shaky performances. The Keith Thurman, he kind of got pulverized, and then Aaron Martinez, a lot of people thought Martinez should have won, and it looked like he had Guerrero out on his feet, and he only had 4 knockouts. So, I don't know. It's still a good fight stylistically. That's bottom line what it is. So I think Khan is looking at it from the perspective like, man, I think I could really beat like Garcia because Garcia has struggled with some boxers. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to get those cash out and get those big money fights. That's what it appears like to me. Kell Brook fight, there's more riding on it. It's kind of like a baby Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather type of fight where it's not just a loss. Like, Khan losing to Garcia, okay, I mean, no loss is necessarily good for your career. However, there was no like domestic rivalry and sit down on Sky Sports where the two are going at it like Kell Brook and Amir Khan. This is for UK bragging rights and like who's the top Brit. So that's a lot more riding on that. So I think Amir Khan's kind of on the wave like, damn, I could go after and avenge a loss to a guy I wanted to fight anyway. Which is Danny Garcia, because Khan has called out Danny Garcia for some time since Garcia beat him, and he probably feels he'll fare maybe even fare better with that style than Kell Brook. So it's a kind of like a business decision. That's what I'm saying, and I'm speaking on behalf of Khan right now. This is just what I'm seeing. You can avenge the loss, get a lot of money in that fight, maybe not as much as you would get fighting Kell Brook, and it is what it is. But again, I'm so consistent, so I'm not going to go away. I do want to see Khan versus Kell Brook, but I got to give it to Amir Khan. What he's saying is totally true. And if you don't believe me, this tweet from Amir Khan just happened today. I wrote an article on my website. Make sure you guys check it out, boxingego.com. And when the Kevin Bezier fight versus Kell Brook was announced, you can hear in the article that I pinned my sentiments towards like Kell Brook. I pretty much said the same thing I said in this video. He has regressed as far as opponent options, and it seems all too convenient that the Diego Chavez fight didn't happen. It's like, dude, he had an opportunity to fight Timothy Bradley. Some people don't know that if you haven't been watching boxing too long or following it in detail. He had an opportunity to fight an eliminator for Bradley. He didn't want that. So that there is an element. I would actually, and this is the cold part about it, I would pick Kell Brook to beat Amir Khan. That's the cold part about it. I would pick Kell Brook to beat Amir Khan because I think he's just a big welterweight. He has boxing ability, a great jab, and I think he's too powerful, right? But I still want to see the fight, and it's a little bit like bothersome that Kell Brook keeps having these incidents. Like, why didn't you want to fight Timothy Bradley when you had the opportunity? Devin Alexander 3 times the fight fell apart. Rios fell apart. Diego Chavez fell apart. And then the people you did fight are people like Jojo Dan. Like, you demolished Jojo Dan, right? And now you're fighting the guy who beat Kevin Bezier. You're fighting Kevin Bezier when you've already demolished Jojo Dan. You know what I'm saying? And they're probably around the same echelon. No one's really considering either guy, Jojo Dan or Kevin Bezier, unless you're from the UK and you want to be biased. But nobody's really putting them up there with the top 3 welterweights. Nobody's saying, you know what, I want to see Pacquiao versus Kevin Bezier. I want to see Floyd Mayweather versus Jojo Dan. Nobody was saying that because they weren't considered. I'm not trying to shit on them, but they weren't considered upper echelon welterweights, and those are the guys he's fighting. And I don't believe in triangle theories at all. Like, there's no consistency with triangle theories. Like, you look at Marquez, Pacquiao, and Bradley, they've all fought each other, and different things have happened in each fight. So I don't believe in triangle theories, but the fact of the matter is you're fighting a guy who lost twice to Jojo Dan, a guy you pulverized, and Jojo Dan and Bezier are probably considered in the same caliber, the same class of fighters. That's why their fights were at least competitive. You know what I'm saying? But you're considered, not even you're considered, you are a champion, and you're ranked higher. So it's like, why are you fighting guys like that? You know what I mean? Truth be told, this is just me. You guys can laugh all you want. I'm not saying this is the best person out there for Kell Brook, but I would rather see Kell Brook fight Josecito Lopez coming off of a Berto loss than to fight Kevin Bezier, right? Just to see how he deals with the aggressive style. Josecito's been in there with Aaron Martinez. He's been in there with Maidana. He's been in there with Canelo. You know what I mean? He's at least game. Victor Ortiz, he pulled an upset. I would rather see something like that than a Kevin Bezier, me personally. Or Andre Berto versus Kell Brook. I'd rather see something like that. I'm being 100% honest. So I got to give it to Khan in terms of his argument. He did his thing. He had a lot of solid points. And I know boxing, so I could tell when someone's full of shit. The only things that I can't really speak to are the behind-the-scenes negotiation. Like, oh, Brook wants a 50-50 split. I don't know about that because I'm not Matchroom or Eddie Hearn. But the stuff he's saying about Bradley and Rios and stuff, that's all true. So let me know what you guys think. Who wins this? Kell Brook, Amir Khan, should they fight? Who should Khan fight next? All that good stuff in the comment section. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.